Hey guys, it's Chrissy and Munchkin here from the Dunkin Ducks, and today we are going to be talking about calcium and why it is so important for your ducks. So a lot of people wonder, if calcium is so important for ducks, then why does most duck feed not contain enough calcium for them? And the reasoning for this is because most duck feed provides enough calcium for male ducks. However, it doesn't provide enough calcium for female ducks because they need more calcium since they're laying eggs. Too much calcium can also cause a lot of problems in male ducks, so that's why it's not added directly into the feed. It's recommended to add calcium as a supplement on the side of your duck's main diet. That way the female ducks can have it when they need it to lay their eggs, but the male ducks aren't getting too much. Not having enough calcium can cause a lot of problems for female laying ducks, such as laying shells with no egg or even egg binding, which can result in death. Making sure you're getting your ducks enough calcium is a super important part of their diet. So when you ask Google, how do I supplement calcium for my ducks, the most common answer you are going to get is to give them oyster shells. Now, oyster shells do provide a ton of calcium, and that's great. However, they are designed with chickens in mind and not ducks. Chickens will eat larger pieces of rocks that they break down in their gizzard, and that's how they digest their food. In their natural habitat, however, ducks are eating smaller particles like sand and tiny little pieces of grit, and that is how they are digesting their food. So when you have something like a big piece of oyster shell and you're feeding it to a duck, they actually aren't able to absorb all of the calcium that that's providing. Most of the time, the duck is just going to absorb the outermost layer of that calcium and then poop out the rest of the oyster shell, so they aren't really getting all of the calcium that you're providing them. Another great way to supplement calcium is to feed the eggshells that your duck lays back to your duck. So basically, your duck would lay the egg, you would do whatever you choose to do with that egg, and then you would keep the shell, bake it, and feed it back to your duck. However, ducks cannot provide their own self-sustaining cycle of calcium. This is because ducks only absorb about 50% of the minerals that they consume. So if I were to feed Munchkin here one whole eggshell that she laid, she's only gonna have enough calcium to lay half of her next egg, which is why you're still going to need even more calcium supplements if you're just feeding your ducks back their own eggshells. Personally, I think that the best way to supplement calcium for your pet ducks is to give them live treats. Some examples of live treats include minnows, tadpoles, and crawdads. So that is how ducks are actually getting calcium in the wild. When a duck in the wild eats a minnow, that calcium is coming from the minnow's bones. And when ducks eat those live treats, they're getting other nutrients like niacin and phosphorus, which are both super important to ducks as well. Even if you are supplementing your ducks and allowing them to eat tons of calcium, they can still become calcium deficient based on what kind of treats you give them. Now, most duck owners know that citrus fruits cause problems with calcium absorption, but they don't exactly know why. Bye, Munchkin. So while lemons and oranges are on most lists that say what not to feed to your duck, a lot of other problematic foods are on safe treat lists, even though they can cause calcium absorption issues as well. And to understand that, you have to understand the actual reasoning why citrus fruits aren't good for ducks. And that's because they are acidic, and acids bind to calcium. And when the acid binds to the calcium, your duck is no longer able to absorb any of those nutrients, and they're all just going to be pooped out. So some kind of problematic treats include spinach, tomatoes, and apple cider vinegar. Those are all treats that are commonly given to ducks, but all of them are acidic, and because they're acidic, they're binding to that calcium, and they're taking that calcium and just having it pooped out. So while spinach and tomatoes may not seem like they're causing any damage to your duck in the short term, they are actually not safe for them, as they are causing calcium absorption issues just like citrus fruits would be. So to stay on the safe side, any treats that you give your duck, you want to make sure it's between a pH of 5 and 8.9. So some great examples of good treats that are in the safe pH range to give your ducks include peas, corn, watermelon, cucumbers, romaine lettuce, and kale. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned a little bit about calcium with ducks. Please let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about next. I hope you all have a quacktastic day, and don't forget to like and subscribe.